Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Expectations of an Avid Gamer. As always, I'm DEDMan, and today we'll be talking about Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'm going back to my older style of these videos, but rather than talk off the cuff and segment them into 3 videos, I'm going to be doing them all in one video. I'll be going through each section of notes I put down and try to make as much sense as possible, but there will be topic jumping. I'm expecting Resident Evil 4 Remake to be on par with 2 and 3 with the quality. I hadn't played the original 2 or 3 as of writing this, but I've heard that a significant portion was cut from 3, and I'm hoping they keep everything mostly intact. Flaws and all, Resident Evil 4 is a fantastic game, and I'd hate to see any of the iconic things get cut. While I haven't played all of the Resident Evils, I have played the absolute crap out of 4. It's what got me into the series to begin with, so I have fond memories of the original. I'm still hoping it will be as funny as the original, while keeping to the darker tone that's been present in the prior 2 remakes. And finally, I'm hoping to get scared, just like with my first time. It's not necessary, but it will definitely enhance the experience. So first off, yes, the humor is there. It's absolutely there. I still think the original is funnier, but there's more than a few moments that had me laughing hard. One of the new features is parrying with your knife. It's got durability this time around, but that's to keep you from being too OP because goddamn is it satisfying. Especially parrying a chainsaw. We all saw it in the trailer, but that's not nearly as cool as doing it yourself. Just wow. On that note of revving chainsaws, the initial village section introduced fear to me that I hadn't felt since 2005. I can easily clear the village in the original Resident Evil 4, even on a fresh save, but this scared the absolute shit out of me and then some. The deaths and animations are more brutal, and I ended up just running around, hoping there was still just a time limit, and eventually they'd all leave. The environments are beautiful. I can see the influence from Resident Evil 7 that they put back into the remake, and it does wonders in making the familiar environments be terrifying again. There's also new areas added, and every area has been expanded to both feel familiar and new. The story is similar in that fashion. All the major beats are there, but a lot of minor details have been changed. Some of them work, some of them don't, but none of them are awful. One gripe I have noticed is it doesn't seem like there's a lot of recovery frames, so there's a few instances where you get hit, and more hits just keep piling on. Maybe that's there to just make things a little more difficult, but I'm not a fan of it, especially when there's no way to make any sort of recovery. The cabin section was one of the harder ones. It makes full use of everything being more aggressive, and it's easily one of the places I died the most. And I love that Ashley is more proactive this time around. I was never in the camp of, oh, escort mission, Ashley bad. But it's nice to see that she as a character has improved significantly, while keeping her wit and charm. The follow system's been changed. Rather than sticking to you or standing still, she can now follow closely or break off and be close, but not so close that she's in danger of being hit. There's not many places for her to hide, and I can only think of one off the top of my head, and while it does make things more difficult, it also makes you think more tactically about what you're doing and where she's at. I'm going to make a confession, and I slept on the bolt throw at first, but damn is it the MVP of the run. Especially when you're a dummy like me and pick hardcore by accident, being able to retrieve your ammo after a battle is a godsend, and I don't know how we ever lived without. The shooting game now has pirates instead of villagers. Not specifically sure why that was changed, but now there's specific challenges to hit, and that does make it more fun. Speaking of the merchant, I like that there's side quests now, with the merchant asking you to do small tasks like shooting medallions as before, or exterminating rats and the like. He gives you spinels that you can trade for various prizes like scopes, guns, and treasure maps. I'm also liking that Luis got more screen time than before. He even accompanies you during the mines around the halfway point of the game, and it fleshes out his character more. So much so that I felt even worse about his death than in the original game. Like, damn, how you gonna give me more feels, Capcom? I do miss the QTE fest that was the Krauser knife fight, but you fight him in game now, and it's certainly more tense, especially if your knife is close to breaking, as mine was. It was also strange to have it so early, but it adds to Luis's death rather than Sadler just appearing out of nowhere. Speaking of, he doesn't really have much of a presence in the remake. It makes sense as he's busy running a cult, but I miss him taunting Leon through the journey. As much as he's absent, he still commands a great performance when he is on screen, so I can't complain too much. The Regenerators can go fuck themselves, and I mean that in the best way. Even almost 20 years out, they still scare the shit out of me. So to nobody's surprise, they still do, and they're enhanced to be even scarier. The parasites are randomly placed, so no cheesing this time. You can still overkill them, but it feels like it takes a lot more ammo this time. Also, as a neat feature, you can shoot at them to expose their skin and find out where the parasites are at before getting to the thermal scope. The new and improved Krauser fight is definitely fun, but the grab attack is BS. Leon's movement in general doesn't seem to match the speed the game runs at, but that might be part of the charm of it. Knife durability can be an issue in the fight, however, as the fight relies on parrying him a lot since Leon has the relative slowness. There's no timer on the fight though, so that is a plus. Weirdly enough, I actually felt bad for Krauser. His death scene was pretty impactful for me as the player, and as for Leon as a character. It's also a cool addition that we can use this knife from that point on. I still think the final run through and most of the island were unnecessary at best and annoying at worst. I felt myself wishing that section was a bit shorter as it ended up being a drag. It's still shorter than the original, but I kind of wish it was even shorter than that. Not gonna lie though, it probably had a lot to do with them adding in even more regenerators than in the OG, so take that as you will. There's no U3 segment, and while it was tense, I'm not missing it that much. There being enemies in the final fight against Sadler was super lame. I was one-shotting them, so they definitely were for ammo drops or the like, but there could be abundance of ammo lying around or some randomly drops because of Ashley or Ada. Either way, they were super distracting in the fight. The ending was appropriately cheesy, same as the original, and even had a touch of sweetness to it, as it's not just Leon telling Ashley no, he doesn't want overtime, but remarks she can take care of herself and might even lead it open to her getting training and joining. I'm sure it's just a throwaway line, but come on, that would be super cool to have Ashley return to kick ass. I am, however, severely disappointed there was no chair for me to sit in looking smug as hell, no laser hallway, and lack of Hunnigan. Out of everything, she was completely wasted the most by being completely professional and not actively communicating with Leon more. In closing, I thought this was an incredibly good remake. The utter fear I experienced due to apprehension tells me they did an amazing job, especially considering I know the original game like the back of my hand. It's good enough that I immediately started a New Game Plus run and wanted to dive right back into it. New Game Plus is just as awesome as before, letting you carry over everything that's not a key item. The additional cosmetic weapon unlocks are wonderful as well. It really gets you into that I can do better next time mindset. I think the movement could be tweaked a bit, as there were more than a few times that I couldn't escape from the things that were unblockable because they moved so fast. Either way, I'm excited to see what Capcom does with the next franchise. Maybe we will eventually see an RE5 remake, but I think there's other titles that need it more, and quite frankly, I'm more interested in the next entry in the series. Thank you for watching, and try not to die out there.